good to try to draw every day. I have this. I was at the store and I saw Star magazine and Us magazine, and I thought, well, I'll pick up one of those because they put celebrity pictures in. It's a good place to draw. And I realized, hey, I have a Libby app through the library, and you know what? You can carry that. So you can click on any of these, open magazine, right? And then we can just scroll through. It's got to load. Okay, that's a not a bad picture to begin with, but you scroll. Ugh. Okay, alrighty. So look through and try to find them. Now they're only like 50 pages in these garbage magazines, but I mean, maybe you smell what the rock's cooking. I don't know. Little Adam Sandler. I don't think so. You know, maybe. Let's see. Jojo, Jojo Siwa. I don't think so either. I might be doing that first picture. Uh huh. Let's see. Find something decent to draw. What in the world? What in the world? Oh, they're so out of touch. Okay. Oh my gosh, celebrities, please. Okay. Okay, that's the end of the magazine. I mean, can you can you imagine spending that much money on this? That's garbage. Maybe we'll try this. What the heck? So the nice thing is you can zoom in, right? Get a little bit where you want it. Now, I'm going to draw up in this area. It'll be quick. Okay, I've already wasted a minute laughing about this. But so when I normally draw, I usually start with that eye, which is their left eye, right eye. But I would just kind of generally draw. It's more for fun, right? So I guess I'm going to mark this here on my paper because I'm looking to try to keep it center with the with the camera there, so I know where my center is. Now, how big do you want to make it? Okay, so that'll be the middle, and I don't want to run out of paper, so I don't want to go any farther than. Let me see if we got any flow going on this thing. Okay, go right about there. Let's do blue. Let's do a blue. Blue's gonna be easier. About over here. Come on, what's going on? Okay. Now, when you're doing, usually I'll draw with pencil, but just for fun, I do it in pen because it'll show up better. So I'm really starting in one area, and I want to basically keep my proportions the same. So even right here, this peak, which I want in the middle, is over. So I'm just gonna kind of move that middle line over. It kind of goes down and goes back up. One thing that's interesting is it's easy to draw to scale. One thing I find hard to do is draw kind of like stepping down. So going from a larger picture to a smaller picture. That seems to be a little tougher. Anyway. So and this may look terrible, but boy, it's just fun to practice. See, this needs to be over a little bit more. So I do a lot of drawings with a grid layout first. And the reason being because I really want the proportions to be correct. And also this, I'm kind of looking at an angle. I usually look like right down on top of my picture. That makes it a lot easier for me. Like this, he needs to be over here more. But anyway, and my picture, of course, is larger. So right here, we got a little ear starting there. And then I want to get my, let me see, you have his ear here, so you have his eyebrows lower. Okay. And like I said, this may be off because I haven't really done pictures like this for a long time. Anyway, what I was kind of getting at is a lot of my pictures, I can do real high detail, and that's mostly with pencil. And I'm working on a project, so it's, going to take some time to do. But this is just fun to kind of mess around with. And pen is less forgiving, so makes it more fun. Let's see here. Oh my gosh. just thinking about how strange some of those celebrity pictures looked. It was just real crazy. Anyway, but so what I've seen some people do with pen is you start out like this and then you kind of lay down your little foundation, and then from there you go ahead and add your thicker, darker lines afterwards, right? And as you're doing that, you tend to lose these because they're so light, and when you're doing shading, these will all disappear somewhat. Let's see what we got. So I'm looking at the distance. Obviously, this eye is more of a distance than this, so these are the kind of ratios I look at when I'm drawing. I'm going to make sure it looks somewhat accurate. And the goal is like, hey, I can tell who it is. That's my objective. Now, looking at this picture, I've already kind of messed up right here. Okay, this and this eye's lower, so I need to actually bring that down. Okay, but once I get everything done, that's a little better. And now I have this here. We have the inner part right there. Do his eye a little tiny bit right there, and this kind of comes down lower. But it's good because this is going to be dark, so that'll all blend in. Okay, so a couple other things that I'll do is I use micron pens. Microns are nice to add if you're going to do some really definitive line stuff, and that's a different and unique kind of way to draw. It gives it a really pop, a nice pop to it. So how long is this nose, by the way? So I'm looking at this distance is about the same as this distance here. So I really only want to go about right here, and then his nose is going to start coming out. So you look at these things. Also, a lot of people have an eye distance the same as kind of the nose, but you look up here, what am I going to? I'm going to hit right on the corner right here. So I want to make sure that when I'm doing these references, they're close. And on this one, I go up, it's right on this little point right here. So right about there. Let's see. Isn't it sad that I picked this dude? Not because he's regal or whatever. He just doesn't. He looks normal. He doesn't look. I don't mind drawing some freaks here and there, but my goodness, I know most of America's looking at these guys going, what a freak show our society is and our celebrities are. They're just, I want to say it out loud, they seem like empty vessels. They're just given lines, say this, do that, make a lot of money, but I'm not really ever wanting to trade places with any of those guys, It just doesn't look like a happy life, Married for 5 years, and that's the eternity in Hollywood. Then they move on, childless, or they're all strange, whatever's cool and popular. Their kid just happens to have it. A bunch of screwed up kids. Anyway, ranting here. So his mustache looks a little bit longer than the way I drew it. So I'm going to drop that down a little bit. And then, of course, we got our lip. It's looking okay. Definitely not a hang it up. And people might not even know who it is, but it's practice. And here's the thing. You look at it, you go, oh, okay, I see what I did wrong. I see what I need to change, right? That's what's important. It's looking okay. I'm just looking to see what I did wrong and what could be better. Let's see. Go here, there, little ear. Let's see. I would shave all this off. Just me. Get it done with. You know what? When you start adding some color and adding some shading, the pictures tend to look better though. And we're only 10 minutes in, and I've got most of the face done. So beard's there, chin ends up down here. But it looks like a face. That's kind of a good thing too. Let's see what we got. So, but yeah, there's a software, Apple. If you go to the apps, you'll find it. It says it's called Grid, and that's what I use to make a grid because you could take any picture you have saved and turn it into a grid pattern, and then I've you just draw a grid on your paper and then go back over that. So if you're going to do something for a person and you want to get accuracy, that's how I do it. Because you're trying to give the best representation. Those people that are getting something from you, they're not worried about, wow, you just did this. I mean, that's cool, but it's not as cool as the most accurate picture that's drawn because they're asking you to do it because they can and they're impressed, right? So whatever method works for you. So a little bit of shading there. We're not going to go crazy, but so let's see here. Now there's a couple interesting things you can do. You can go like for right here, you can do lines, right? Or you can lightly touch and just kind of stroke through, and that gives you, and that's kind of what I do. I get a little bit of this to get some of that darkness and build up. I'm not really worried about doing cross hatching with this. I will with microns because it gets me a better, it gets me just a unique pattern, and it's unique to the picture. It just looks, it's different. It's hard to say. So I'm not really trying to do too much shading or anything like that. But see how I'm like lightly touching it? Very lightly. Right here is darker than this little section right here. So let's see. Like all this right through here. So we're going to just get a little bit of these hairs in here. And then let's see. I'll probably try to go for no more than like 20 minutes because I want to get this worked on and done. Now, hey, if you got a question, ask it. Comment, ask it. No big deal. Say, oh, you know what? I'd really like to know what you're doing there, or boy, this is garbage. Whatever you want to say. I really could not care less about negative comments. It doesn't matter to me. People have an opinion. Not a big deal. Because I enjoy drawing, so I'll just scan through it. But you know what? If you write question, then it'll red flag a little better. Let's see what we got here. But I will put up some much nicer stuff that's real accurate. And once I'm done with my big project, I'll start maybe doing some pencil stuff. But the nice thing is, as you're doing the shading, you can kind of like cheat it a little bit. You can add it. So, for instance, if I was doing this nose, you might want to curve in the direction that you think the nose is. So it's curving this way. The cheeks are curving this way. So I might do some shading like this, if you wanted to do lines like that. And you could see right here, it shades through here. So it leaves a little bit of a white spot right through here. So you have this dark, and you have a light after that, and then you have your beard hairs. Let's get this done though, and I'm all over the place. But when I do a big project, I kind of focus on one area, get that done with, and move on. So now these little things is just kind of doing some work, just going all over. Doesn't matter, but it's just practice. It's fun. Now, you want to draw things you like. So you could do the same thing with animals. You could do the same thing with, if you don't like celebrities, which I could not care less about, but it's kind of nice to draw people that are recognizable. Also with Ballpoint, by the way, you can kind of do that and get a little bit of shading. Let's get this lip done. But anyway, what was I going to say? Oh yeah, just draw for. Oh, I really screwed that up. Just draw for fun, for yourself. I think if you're trying to do it for any other reason, it's not gonna pan out. Boy, I really messed that lip up. So let's go through there and let's try to fix that a little bit. Okay. It's kind of like a little dog, you know. I get that little dark hair. Whatever. Right through here. I don't know a whole lot about the prince, you know. I don't know any of his. I would guess he's. Seems like most elite people are more liberal, but he comes across as a, you know, decent person. I'm not trying to say liberal's not decent or whatever. I'm just saying that, you know, he does what he should do. I mean, I think there's a lot worse options for the crown. And so far, he seems like a nice person, you know. Does his role as he should. It'd be weird, wouldn't it? Falling into something like that. Like you're just born into this. You just have to do it. My goodness. Like that's a lot to bear. You just kind of have to do it. It's a lifetime job. So maybe that's why his brother didn't want to do it. He's like, I'm over this. You know, he could have continued to do it in whatever capacity. Oh well. I wouldn't want to do it. No way. That's looking okay. Could you tell it's him? Maybe not. Get some hair up here. Get some hair down here. Yeah, I think you should shave it, you know. Because when it gets longer and you get these, kind of get these little stray hairs going, that's no fun. So yeah, that's my recommendation. Shave it. Get the darkness there. Boom. Let's see. So now let's get a little shading in the eyes. Boom, boom, boom. It's got some wrinkles there. Yeah, go with the Bruce Willis look. I'm going to do these lines in opposite directions. And I'm not really worried about doing any of that weird cross hatching. I'm just trying to add some color because it doesn't matter. This is a quick picture. Got some wrinkles here. All this is up here. Get some shading through here. Yeah, it's looking a little better, you know. A lot of it comes in the eyes. But I bet you if I showed somebody, they wouldn't tell who it is. So what you do is you analyze your picture, see where you did wrong, what you don't like, what you do like. I'm gonna make this a little darker. And that's how you get better. So freehand, if you really want to get better, freehand is what you need to do. And ask somebody that you know is really good, that can really criticize what you did and what's right, what's wrong with your picture. But again, I'm doing this fast, so I don't really care. Let's get this ear done with here. Ideally, you'd want to leave, start on this side if you're doing something to film for people so that they could see your progression without blocking what you're doing. Oh, by the way, if you ever think you want to draw and put it on YouTube and you have a iPhone, my recommendation is remember to press the screen first before you start. That'll give you an autofocus lock. So it'll lock the picture and therefore you won't lose your focus. So you can see as I bring my hand up, I'm not losing any of that focus. It's still focused down here. Okay. And that's very important because, it'll all automatically focus on this part, and you don't want that. You want to stay focused on your on the picture. So let's get some hair here. We'll kind of define the. Well, here's some weird screaming outside. So you see what I'm saying? It'll allow you to stay focused on the picture. So if you're whatever you're doing, you could be doing like art or making something claymation. Who knows? Whatever you're doing, but if you don't want the picture to go out of focus, you need to make sure you just touch it, hold it. You'll see a yellow box come up. I usually lay a pin on there first, aim at the pin, and do that. And that's little word of advice for you. So right through here, it's a little dark. And then we want to get some shading in his lips. So we got a lip right here. It's interesting because the bottom lip is never as dark as the top. But look at this little line. It doesn't look as prominent anymore now that we've done all these hairs. This is a little darker. A little darker. This is also darker. Got a line here, curve here, a couple wrinkles. This is also darker. I think if I did a more modern celebrity, people might know who it is. We'll darken this right out here. A lot of times it's the top of the bottom lip that you see. So we got those hairs. He's got a little bit of gray there. I had a beard and I got rid of it because it was so much gray. Made me look 10 years older. Didn't like that. I was trying to see if I could grow it for a year. It didn't work. Couldn't do it. All right, so let's look at this here. Interestingly enough, I'm looking. His shirt starts below the lip line. Let me get this a little bit better. So I want to start below the lip line. So you're just looking for your locations, okay? So that comes down here, curves down. Let's go back over here and get this shirt. Where does it end? Look, you start here, you go up, corner of the lip, boom. It's kind of following the slope, so right about here. So yeah, you're using your picture to determine where it should go. And okay, it'll obviously connect here, and it has a curve, and it really leaves a little tiny gap right there. And the shirt doesn't go all the way up. So now if you would like to see a nice drawing, then by all means I will you know what I'll do? I'll put my email address on there. You can write, hey, draw this. Now I'm losing all this picture there. And then I will happily draw a picture for whatever. If you say, hey, draw this picture, and I draw it, then I don't really keep them, so I'll mail it. I'll mail it to whoever does that. So I'll just put a little picture in there, or put a little email in there, and I don't have a problem doing that. That'd be kind of fun. If I decide to draw whatever picture is suggested, or a person, whatever person's suggested, like Keanu Reeves, great. He's on my draw radar. This is kind of goes like that, and then, so I'm not going to obviously color all this, but right through here, it would be significantly darker. But let's get this neck done. We're at 23 minutes. Let's get this. So right through here, I might draw some lines just to get a little bit of color, right? That's going to help out. And I can't really see the tie, but so. Okay, that's a little bit better. You know what's funny? His head is more turned. So looking at it, this is a little tall, I think. That could come down a bit. A little more squinty through the brow, right? See that from the picture. General, pretty good. I think his nose is bigger. His eye spacing's off. His eye spacing needs to be a little. So I think his face is a little bit wider. But this is also a distortion from not looking directly over. So I made his head longer because of that. So yeah, I think it was down here. It would be better. Lower that down. But it's okay. Not too bad. And boy, you know what? He looks a little thinner in my picture too, right through here, his neck. See that? And that's part of that distortion thing. So yeah, head's too long. But again, drawing from an angle, not so good. Anyway, hope it was somewhat interesting. And any idea? Look at that. Timed out on me. Any ideas? Let me know, and I will draw them, or I'll just draw something else tomorrow. But time to go to bed. Thank you.